What did your school illegally do? My son Nolan started showing up at home with unexplained bruises. He was 13 and in his first year of special education due to his autism. When I asked him about the marks, he'd just shut down and start stimming, rubbing his hands together until they were raw. I tried talking to his teachers, but they dismissed my concerns, saying he probably got them during his episodes. But Nolan hadn't had a meltdown in over 2 years. Something wasn't adding up. One day, while doing laundry, I found dried blood on his shirt collar. That's when I bought a tiny voice recorder and sewed it into his jacket. I know it wasn't legal, but my gut was screaming that something was very wrong. What I heard that night made me physically sick. The special ed teacher, Mrs. Walsh, had been locking Nolan in a 4-by-4-foot, calm-down room, basically a storage closet, whenever he had trouble focusing. She'd leave him there for hours, sometimes the entire school day. I could hear him crying, begging to be let out, saying he needed to use the bathroom. Mrs. Walsh would just laugh and tell him to earn his way out by completing worksheets in the dark. The next recording was worse. When Nolan had a panic attack, from being confined, 2 male staff members pinned him face down on the floor. I could hear him struggling to breathe as they pressed their knees into his back. "Maybe this will teach you to behave," one of them said. I stormed into the principal's office the next morning with the recordings. Instead of being horrified, she threatened to have me arrested for illegal surveillance. She even smirked and said, "No one would believe an unstable child over respected educators." So, I went to the school board meeting that night. When it was my turn to speak, I played those recordings on full volume. The room went dead silent, except for Nolan's recorded cries. Parents started crying. Board members looked like they were going to be sick, but the district's lawyer jumped in, threatening legal action against me. They even tried to end the meeting early. That's when Thomas Parker, a local news reporter who had a son with autism, stood up. He'd been there, covering school funding. "I've heard enough," he said, pulling out his phone. "This airs tonight at 11Y, and I've already sent copies to 3 other stations and the Department of Education. The school board tried to offer me hush money, $50,000, to handle this privately. I told them they could shove that money where the sun doesn't shine." The story exploded. Other parents came forward with similar recordings. Turns out the calm down room had been used for years. They found scratch marks on the inside of the door from desperate kids trying to get out. Mrs. Walsh was arrested for child abuse. The principal and 3 staff members were fired. The district had to pay millions in settlements to 26 families of special needs students. But the best part? The state passed Nolan's law requiring cameras in all special education classrooms. My son testified at the hearing, the same unstable kid they said no one would believe. He's 15 now and thriving at his new school. Last week he gave a speech at a disability rights conference. Standing ovation. The only one not clapping was Mrs. Walsh. She was watching from prison on Zoom as part of her rehabilitation.